people, LP2000, right back at you with another video. Yes, welcome back to the Lesser Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Assortment Kaiju and on behalf of Collect All Monsters. And yes, after me finally talking about these books for the longest time on my channel, I'm finally getting to these books, these awesome picture books. So without further ado, let's go head first into this review. And today we're taking a look at the Toho Special Effects Movies Authentic Visual Books, dedicated to volume number 42, dedicated to the monster that appeared in 1969's Godzilla's Revenge, with the awesome, super cool Kaiju Gabara, as well as volume number 14, the iconic pollution monster that showed up in 1971's Godzilla vs. Smog Monster in Hedorah. And as you can see, I have the beautiful books here, and yes, they are beautiful. So without further ado, let's get into the backstory with me getting these books. Now, these books are basically picture books that are devoted to a certain kaiju that you can only get from the Godzilla store in Japan. And these are really pristine photos, you know what I mean? High quality, just awesome photos devoted to a particular kaiju. In this case, Gabara as well as Hedorah here. And I first got turned on to these books. I want to give a huge shout out to fellow Godzilla YouTuber William Fett from the Godzilla Files. He actually did a video, I think around a year and some change ago, on these books. Now, historically, I have never really been huge into like books, like far as like Godzilla. Now, you know, yes, I collect the figures, I collect the movies, but I have never really been like a big book fan when it comes to Godzilla in terms of comic books, novelizations, stuff like that. So when I found out about these books, I was really on the fence about getting them, quite frankly. Because once again, I'm not really heavy into books. But after seeing William's video and actually just seeing him go through the books and going through some of the pictures and stuff like that, I was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind going after a few of these books. And I got my hands on a few of them at last year's G-Fest, and I've been collecting them from the Godzilla store ever since. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Jason Weller from Awesome Collector for helping me get a few of these books. Now, mind you, I'm not going after every single book. I do have a good chunk of them, you know what I mean? Because they have done an assortment of kaiju ranging from Gabara to Hedorah, Mechagodzilla 75 and 74, Titanosaurus, the Gargantuas, Gorosaurus, Shin Godzilla, you know what I mean? And far as like me and my personal collection, I got pretty much all the Godzillas. I got the 62, 64, 54, 93, 95, 89, 2000, 84, GMK, Final Wars. The one I don't really have that they have of Godzilla himself, I think, is Shin Godzilla. I'm not really feeling that one. And there are a few other kaiju that I did get, like Mechagodzilla 75, 74, Titanosaurus, Jet Jaguar, Gigan, the Gargantuas, you know. Those videos will be forthcoming real soon. And there are some I didn't get a chance to get, nor do I have any interest in getting, like they have done Gorosaurus, Ebera, you know, Mothra 1996, Orga, Maguma from Gorath, you know. So even though there are some that I really do enjoy and I want to collect, there are some that I'm not going to collect. But at the same time, these books are so awesome. They really are. And what's cool about these books is the fact that they're actually only $11 from the Godzilla store. You need somebody that can actually navigate the Godzilla store website, because it's all in Japanese, right? And then you need a Japanese address if you can go through a forwarding service like Tenso to have them shipped to your house. But if you're on the Facebook collectors groups, as far as like Kaiju on Facebook, there are a few people out there that will help you and they are able to navigate the Japanese site. So if you want these books, I suggest going that route. Otherwise, if you go the eBay route, they're $30 a pop. When you tax on shipping on top of that, is even more so. I don't recommend doing that, quite frankly. Like I said, try and find somebody on the Facebook groups that maybe they can help you get these books for what they actually are priced. Or if you happen to go to G-Fest next year, once again, as I mentioned earlier, I did get a few of mine from G-Fest last year, so don't be surprised if you see a few of these on sale for G-Fest this year. You know, so there are a few ways that you can get these books, and I highly recommend that you do get these books. And once again, thanks to William Fett's video of these books, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go after these books, and so far I've been thoroughly impressed with what they have done. They come like in a glossy finish of the book. 30 to 34 pages of just never before seen photos, and maybe some photos that you have seen of these particular kaiju. And they also come up with tidbit information like the origin of the character, who was inside the suit, some production information here and there. It's not a whole big chunk of information, but it's some here and there that's scattered throughout the book or peppered throughout the book that will offer you some enlightenment. You know what I mean? So what I plan to do in these series of videos, once again, I'm doing these videos like 2 per video. At the time it's recording, I got like maybe like 22 of them, you know, that range from, like I said, the 89 Godzilla, 84, 2000, GMK, Titanosaurus, both Mechagodzilla, 74, 75, Jet Jaguar, and Gigan, excuse me, the Gargantuas, you know. So I'm going to put them 2 into each video. What I plan to do is I'm going to take like 3 photos from each book, because the main idea of these videos is to sell you on getting these books, because they really are a good investment, you know. I'm going to take 3 random photos from each book and just give you my opinions or thoughts behind the photo. You know what I mean? I don't want to showcase the whole book, but I do want to showcase a few of these pictures to show you what kind of quality that you get yourself into when you purchase these books. So I know this is kind of like a weird start to start off, because, you know, the reason these kaiju are here is Godzilla. Don't get me wrong, the Godzilla books are coming. But I figured, you know what, let's do these in a random order. You never know where I'm going to come out with these videos or who I may showcase. And I thought it's kind of appropriate to come out, you know, with more of a random feel by doing Gabara as well as Hedorah. So let's focus on Gabara. Yes, this is the Gabara picture book, volume number 42. It just got recently released. You know what I mean? But once again, Gabara, being from a film that's not too well liked within the Godzilla community, there are a lot of people that do enjoy this kaiju, and I'm one of them, you know? So let's go with the first picture in this book that I'm going to showcase, and here's the picture right here. And as you can see, there's 2 pictures here, one of a black and white photo of Gabara and a colored photo of Gabara, excuse me. And that's what these picture books offer you. They offer you both color and black and white photos. But whether it's black and white or color, they are in the best condition. They are in the best presentation. You know what I mean? And also with these books, they showcase so many different photographs of the kaiju, you know, behind the scenes photographs, as well as on-screen photographs of what we've seen in the movies. But they pretty much show these kaiju or the suits from every angle. So this can also be like a reference tool for people that make kits or build sculptures from scratch, or people that build these monster costumes that we've seen like in G-Fest and stuff like that, or do cosplay, whatever. These are also a great reference tool if you want to build, like, let's say, a Gabara suit. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to rely on the movie itself, you have these pictures, like I said, that capture the suit from virtually almost every angle, both black and white and colored colored photos, excuse me. And this is a great reference tool. As you can see here, great photograph of Gabara, both black and white and colored. Now, let's move forward to the second photo. Now, this photo I picked secondly. I mentioned this in our latest Collect All Monsters episode of Wonderfest. And look at this photo right here. You see Gabara here. It's obviously in between scenes of Godzilla fighting Gabara. You know, you got some technicians tending to the suit of Gabara. But as you can see, there's Hedorah Nakajima, you know, right there on the right, and he's like coming out of his Godzilla suit, obviously, and he got his hands on his hips, and he's looking at Gabara with that, you know, that weird look on his face. And when I look at that photograph, I just think of Nakajima saying to himself, really? I'm going to end the 60s with you? Like, I started out battling the most iconic monster on the planet, King Kong. Then I went on to fight Mothra. Then I went on to fight King Ghidorah. Then I went on to go to outer space to fight King Ghidorah. And I'm going to end this era with you? Look at that photograph. Look at Nakajima's face. You know what I mean? It's just funny. It's just funny what was going on during that particular moment when that photo was captured. What was going on in Nakajima's mind with his hands on his hips? He's looking at Gabara. Like I said, he looks frustrated, like, you know, Gabara, I'm going to end with you. So that's kind of funny when you really think about it. But also a cool thing about these books, even though this book in particular is devoted to Gabara, there are a couple of photographs where Godzilla and Minya will pop into the book. The same thing goes with other photographs devoted to other kaiju, like Hedorah. Godzilla pops up here and there in his book. Or in Mechagodzilla 74, Godzilla pops up here and there in that book, as well as King Caesar. So it's great that you get somewhat of a cameo appearance of these other monsters from these films when it comes to a particular kaiju, you know what I mean? But that photograph with Nakajima, very, very funny, very, very funny. And the last photograph I'm going to show you is a black and white photograph of pretty much of all the principal monsters from Godzilla's Revenge. Gabara, Minya, and Godzilla. Of course, you know, this film has a great abundance of stock footage where a lot of other monsters appeared from other Godzilla films like Ebirah, Kamunga, Kamacuras, the Giant Condor, you know. But these three are the principal monsters from the film. These are the monsters that pretty much have the newest scenes in the film, you know. And it's just a very, very cool shot. And it's actually, this is actually the final photograph of the Gabara book. And it really shows just the whole premise behind Godzilla's Revenge. You have Gabara there and Godzilla hovering over Minya. You know, you have one monster in Godzilla that wants to teach Minya how to fight, and then you have the other monster that wants to bully Minya, and it all ends up in a happy situation in the end anyway. So once again, Gabara is such a great, great book, you know what I mean? Even though the movie may not be a highly popular one, if you're a fan of Gabara, or at least if you have somewhat of a fondness of this film of Godzilla's Revenge, please do not hesitate to get your hands on this awesome book, volume number 42, dedicated to Gabara. Now, let's go on to the year of 1971, and as much crap as Godzilla's Revenge get, some people think it's the worst Godzilla film. Some people think that this film probably should have killed the Godzilla franchise back in the late 60s. But you know what? You can't keep a good thing down. And so that's why we have the following Godzilla film 2 years later with the super cool and funkadelic, psychedelic funky 1971's Godzilla vs. Hedorah, also known as Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster. And this book is dedicated to Hedorah, volume number 14. And I have a huge soft spot for Hedorah. I love Hedorah, this version. I ain't talking about the one that appeared in Final Wars for 2 seconds. But this guy right here, this is the real deal. And this is such a cool book of Hedorah. As I mentioned earlier with the Gabara thing, I'm going to showcase 3 photographs from this book to try to sell you on this. So let's start off with the first photograph. Now, this photograph is a behind-the-scenes photograph of a technician, you know, trying to manipulate the water version of Hedorah, the tadpole version of Hedorah. Let me just say this. That version of Hedorah, to me, is probably the scariest version of Hedorah. Just seeing him rise out of the polluted water and just those eyes just barely making it over the surface. He just looks so really evil in this pose, or at least in this stage, you know. Now he looked evil and sinister in other forms, you know, whereas the frog's landing stage or the aerial stage or the final form. Actually, you know what? I find the final form less intimidating, especially how the eyes are more kind of like wide and kind of goofy looking on how it's placed on the suit. But that tadpole version, when I first saw Godzilla vs. Hedorah, that tadpole version literally scared me. I have no problem admitting that. When I first saw Hedorah for the first time and I see him attack the ships and they showed that photograph of him in the water looking directly back at you, that version of Hedorah really scared me. So it's nice that you know, in these books, you know, especially with Hedorah, you get photographs of them, you know, dealing with, you know, the props of Hedorah as well as the suit accurate version of Hedorah. But like I said, this tadpole version really scared the crap out of me. So now let's go with the second photograph. Now this second photograph, another iconic scene, you know, where Hedorah appears in broad daylight out of nowhere, where they try to tell folks, Hedorah's not going to appear in the daylight. What are you talking about? Hedorah only appears in like murky and dark and really dusk situations. You have nothing to worry about. You can roam the country, you can roam the city, you can do whatever you want to in broad daylight because Hedorah is not going to appear. Boy, did he prove everybody wrong. In this scene where 2 of the main characters of the film, you know, they're in a traffic jam, all of a sudden their car doesn't want to go forward. The next thing we see Hedorah on top of the pack of cars in traffic, and he's just sucking up the cars. And that was really a cool scene as well. Once again, Hedorah looks very, very sinister right here. You know what I mean? Even though I find the tadpole version just a little bit more sinister looking. But this photograph right here, you know, showcases a really cool scene in the film. And it just shows that whenever you think you have the answers of Hedorah or whatever, or you think you have the answer to the questions involving Hedorah, he tends to change it up every single time. You never knew what to expect from Hedorah. I think that's probably the appeal of Hedorah. It's the fact that it's an unprecedented monster that is so powerful, and you don't know what to expect from him. You don't know when he's going to appear. You don't know where he's going to appear. You don't know what other superpowers he may try to unleash upon the world and or Godzilla. And that's the appeal of Hedorah. And this scene right here, as well as this photograph, shows that you never know what to expect from Hedorah. And the final photograph on the showcase, once again, as I mentioned, there are times where other kaiju from a particular film involving a kaiju's focus on in these books does make an appearance, or cameo appearance, I should say, in these books. And of course, I'm talking about Godzilla. And this photograph of Godzilla fighting Hedorah is a cool photograph. It really is. Now, mind you, this didn't happen in the film. As you can see, Godzilla is fighting the final form of Hedorah. And as you can see in the background, it's a city situation. Of course, that didn't happen in the film. When Godzilla fought the final form of Hedorah, they were near Mount Fuji, where there was no buildings or no cities to be around. You know what I mean? But this photograph shows an alternate take of what would have happened if Godzilla would have fought Hedorah in a city situation. In my opinion, it would have probably not ended too well for Godzilla, because in the cities you have factories, you have buildings, and you have all these metropolitan structures that are spewing forth all this pollution and smoke or whatever, which probably would have gave Hedorah an advantage. And Godzilla was already fighting an uphill battle anyway. You know what I'm saying? He barely got by Hedorah in the film as it was anyway. So to have Godzilla fight Hedorah in an environment where Hedorah would have clearly had more of an advantage probably would not have done Godzilla any favors, quite frankly. But this is a great photograph to show what could have happened if Godzilla did fight Hedorah in a city situation. But I think it ended up being better for Godzilla having fight Hedorah in the countryside, where there's no pollution for Hedorah to suck upon for him to get bigger. But as you can see, this is a great photograph to show you what could have happened. So once again, this is a great book of Hedorah, and I highly recommend, if you are a huge fan of Hedorah, please go after this book. You would not be disappointed. That's pretty much it for my review of the first block dedicated to volume number 42 for Gabara, as well as volume number 14 of Hedorah, the Toho special effects, movies, authentic visual books. Once again, these books are awesome. They have done a great assortment of kaiju, and there are a few that they have not done yet. They have not done Godzilla 1991, or Godzilla 1992, or Godzilla 2002, or Godzilla 1973 or 1975 or 1974. There are so many other Godzilla designs as well as kaiju that they can do, and I'm looking forward to see what they come up with next. But considering what they have done so far with these books, what they have brought to us thus far, the original 54 Godzilla, the 55 Godzilla, Anguirus 55, the 62, 64, 65, 67, Hedorah, Gabara, Jet Jaguar, you know, the Heisei Godzilla, 84, 89, 93, 95, GMK, and 2000, and stuff like that. Megaguirus, Orga. They have done a great assortment of kaiju, and I cannot recommend these videos, or these books enough. Please, if you can get your hands on these books, please go after these books. As I mentioned earlier, try to find somebody on Facebook that can help you navigate through the site versus going the eBay route where you're paying $30, almost $40 per book. That's almost 3 times the price of the original price of the book. Please don't go that route. But if you can find somebody that can help you navigate through the site, trust me, these books are a great investment. Now, consider what is next as far as like the next block of what other 2 books I'm going to showcase. Once again, you guys stay tuned for that. It could be anything. I could focus on the Gargantuas and 1965 Godzilla. It could be Titanosaurus and Mechagodzilla 1975. It could be the 93 Godzilla or the 95 Godzilla. It could be the GMK Godzilla or the 2000 Godzilla. Just stay tuned. You never know what I'm going to come up with next. These are going to be random videos and random subjects, but trust me, if you enjoyed this video and if you want to enjoy these books, trust me, I think you enjoyed the other videos I have coming on this channel as far as these Toho special effects visual books. You would not be disappointed if you go after these books. Trust me when I say that. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see y'all again on that Figure Move review. All right, y'all take it easy.